Awesome. So yeah, welcome everyone. This is a Vibe Cell series, and that's actually our first episode with a very, very dear guest that we're welcoming today in Zurich City Center before you travel back into your international and busy life.
The bubble, the bubble of YC and all the cells and everything. It's just like very consuming, isn't it? But super exciting as well.
That's super cool.
100%.
Like you just arrived from Morocco like a couple of hours ago. It was a busy day.
It was indeed, but I always have time for Vibe Cell and good time with friends.
Thank you so much, Abde, for coming. You're a very honored guest here at our place, and yeah, we really see you as a great leader in everything related to sales. And yeah, you guys just got some very exciting news of what's coming ahead. So yeah, tell us a bit more about actually what brought you to startup life and what's top of mind for you right now.
100%. So I think building and designing and, up from the ground is something really inspiring, has always inspired me. I've always seen people around me doing it. And I think, seeing people like yourself as well doing it with VibeCell, which is something that, a couple of years back when I worked in sales would have, changed my complete journey all the way. It sort of inspired me to do better. I think finding the co-founders that I work with right now also changed the whole vision. J-Floor, which is a cooperative you also work with. It's sort of the landscape right now is looking pretty bright, and it's just a great place to be at. And I think I've always been like that. I think you've always been like that, and I think everyone in the landscape right now has been like that. So
100%. No, I have this feeling that we're now in a very special momentum.
100%.
And yeah, even like being here in Zurich, like the amount of talent that we've actually managed to put together here, it's just phenomenal. And I think, yeah, it'd be very interesting to kind of also showcase to our audience, like, what is actually Ecomcoder about? Because you guys are doing an amazing product. We're just having a look at the solution right now before joining the podcast. Yeah. So tell us, guys, what are you actually doing?
So I think, a very good way of putting it, I think, is essentially what we've seen, because we're all e-commerce founders, what we've seen is like agencies turning down jobs or jobs bodily done on Shopify, which should be like a super easy platform, by the way, to like sort of deliver to non-tech savvy Shopify store owners. And, people turning down jobs, doing the job wrong, mad waiting times. Actually going ahead and building this amazing AI that helps Shopify founders, agencies, and everyone in the environment sort of build the right way on a timeline that makes sense, and do it with ethics, and it made a lot of sense. So we took our own pain points and put it all on an AI, in which we do right now like image creation, we do edition, with plain English, all done just with plain English, which is something super nice. I know it might seem like, some of your agents might think it's just very tiny things, but it's actually a big deal. And we wasted over $30,000 just developing our own store, just seasonal changes, just this little tweak here, countdown timer to $100, this and that. And it got too much for us. And right now, building this bespoke solution for our fellow e-commerce founders seem just like a dream. We're doing what we wish we have had, and I think it's something you're doing as well, and we're all on this space doing. Right?
For me, that's very inspiring, and like you really nailed it by talking about these concepts, no? Like building the thing we wish we would have had, and that's actually how you manage to really empathize with the pain point, with the community you're actually aiming to support. And like when I see your experience in e-commerce, I think you were actually at Rafa before, right? So
yeah.
Very rich experience as well on the sector.
I think, right now everything moves around the internet, right? Like everything happens in there. And I think, we can see it with Nike, for example, closing up all their like retails, or most of them anyway, leaving only the iconic ones, and, moving everything online. And big brands like those, Gymshark, which is $1 billion business, which runs in Shopify, by the way, and also has never had a retail location till very recently in Regent Street, like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were making billions by then.
Insane.
It's something that happens, like is happening all on a screen right now. And I think bringing that human side into this and bringing in this experience that we've all experienced. I mean, who wasn't a kid and thought about building a website that sold something that, everyone has. So now with Ecomcoder, you can just actually go and do it. AI is such a beautiful thing where you can just go and do stuff, but good AI.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And like when we look also about like the team that you guys are at Ecomcoder, like of course like we're also good friends together with Imad, with Amin.
Of course.
And I think also they have an amazing story with e-commerce. So tell us a bit about how it was for Imad when he was 15 years old, because it's kind of an unparalleled story as well.
I mean, the brothers, because the siblings are one of the most entrepreneurial humans I've ever known. Like they grew up on an entrepreneurial background, and I think super bright minds. I mean, you know them. I think, yeah, I mean, it's just incredible. So I think they always try to channel problems with solutions that make sense.
Yeah.
So, they've always done the best at Ecomcoder, not the best they could, but the best. And, they always ship super fast. They always deliver super fast. And they couldn't control that when they had to hire an external developer. So, the standard was always very high and very hard to be kept by others.
Yeah.
Right? It's a little bit like my standard with sales or my standard with relationships. They must be high. You must always do whatever you do. You need to be passionate about. That's why, again, I'm going to say it, but that's why I feel passionate about VibeSell, because if I see passion, I live it through you as well. So, it's just inspiration. And I think they always lived by that. So I think Imad, when he started on ETH, he was like building up all this technical knowledge and everything, just as much as Amin was doing it as well.
Yeah.
And like what he found is actually a very big pain point, which I think we all in this room have identified as well, which is distribution is the problem, right? And he wanted to channel that before he actually got to this point.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a pro at that. And oh God, he is a pro thanks to e-commerce, right? So he started building something out of, okay, I'm just going to try to do the best I can as everything he does. And he actually got us to scale to 6-figure e-commerce store monthly, by the way.
Insane.
It was just a bunch of kids in a basement, right? Like the story says, right? Like in a garage, right? Like, and we nailed distribution. We nailed the technical side. It was only time to put it all together and make the wheel spin. And that's where we are right now. And, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
They had an amazing journey. We had an amazing journey, and we sort of building up to that unbelievable journey.
Super cool. I really love it, and this really resonates. And like we're talking about the added value of like, I was actually talking with my wife around 3 years ago before all of the AI boomed and so on.
Yeah.
It's like, I would like to build a second-hand kind of a exchange of clothes or something like that. I was like, you actually need to build a proper app or an e-commerce in order to do such thing in the right way. And that actually costs probably tens to $100,000 to actually make it run smoothly. But that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
That was back then. Like now we're talking about actually what you guys have put together. You're really empowering developers as well as entrepreneurs or even bigger companies to really help them achieving their dreams much faster. And that's for me something that is deeply unique because not all players are able to do what you guys are doing at such level of quality with Shopify.
I think 100%. Like I think that's a very, very, very important topic. Like for $50 a month, you can build a killer Shopify store, right? Ecomcoder costs just $50 a month. And if you wake up at 3 a.m. with cold sweats because you've had an amazing idea that you want to implement, you can implement it at like this stage and this level of like, it delivers the right way with the right code and the best practices only, just as we do on the operation side. We only comprehend best practices and we try to do it the best way. It doesn't mean we've got it all figured out. It means we're always about that.
Yeah.
And so I think AI, that's the beautiful part of it. I know it's a bit controversial, but when it's used the right way, it makes a lot of sense. Like, you cut so much of your time, you cut so much of your expenses, you can put your energy onto other important stuff. Equally as important is to have a clean website, by the way. But if you can put your mind into marketing, if you can put your mind into selling, you can quit on like having a heavy headache of, oh, I need to, take care of the migration. I need to take care of this. I need to take care of this seasonal change or whatever. We've got a client right now, which is currently migrating to Shopify. The guy had a timeline of a couple of weeks, and he's been now for a month and a half being dragged around, having paid top dollar. So, it's one of them things where like you can rely on technology, and that's what we're trying to deliver here.
Yeah.
I think it's something that I'm experiencing a lot with VibeCell as well, which is essentially the fact that I know I can rely on like a full-on full-time assistant anytime, anywhere. And, I just know it delivers. And if not, you're a message away and it will take you to fix it. No time, right? So, it's one of them things that makes you change perspective on AI.
Yeah.
And actually seeing it work makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And yeah, so what you're saying resonates. So we also come with a deep domain expertise, myself having worked in sales at Salesforce for 6 years, having sold to enterprise at the end of the day, like the solution we've put together with VibeCell is exactly tackling the pain points that we experience in our team firsthand. The amount of time lost on admin work, also like getting into customer meetings, but not really knowing the exact answer that is going to convert the deal right now in the moment.
That makes such a difference. I think, I don't know if you've seen my LinkedIn post, but it's so important. It's so crucial to listen. VibeCell is always listening. And it's so important to say the right thing. And unless you're super experienced, and even then you have bad days. You don't know the people you're talking to, right? So you always need this push. What AI is doing, I think, is raising the bar. People that know how to use AI will rise. And people that don't will just stay behind. But the fact that VibeCell is such a comprehensive solution that you don't have to have any expertise. That's why I'm so excited about Ecomcoder, VibeCell, and these kind of solutions that are going on right now, because they are literally simplified and ready for tech, like non-tech savvy people. And that's the exciting part. And I think we've struggled with those things, as we said at the beginning of the podcast, and like we can bring in a bespoke solution for anyone and everyone that is in this industry. And that is the inspiring part. And the fact that you're always getting feedback from others, listening, talking to people, like you've got such a wide and healthy network. We were talking about it earlier. That it's just really easy to shape up this product. Well, really easy.
Yeah.
But
compared to before, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, but 100%. And like, the change within the last 2 weeks, like I was in love with VibeCell before, but like, you guys need to check out the new update because you're gonna love it. But for sure, super exciting times, and we're all for it.
Thank you so much, Abde. And yes, so also when you were talking about, okay, it's of course very important to make an amazing product, which I think you guys have really managed to nail so far. But also one thing that is crucial is the distribution part. Is okay, how do I manage to get this amazing product and convince everyone that it's not like just noise, as many other tools out there or many platforms, but it's something that is deeply unique and special. And how can I manage to basically scale that up quickly and effectively?
100%. So I think what you said is so important. I think, you need to scale quickly and effectively, right? Quick and effective don't always go hand in hand. But I think what you said is so important, because people are caught up planning long term when on a startup, as startup operators, C-level people, and like people with responsibility for our team, essentially we bring the bread, right, to our team.
Yeah.
So just fight over the first clients. Like the first go-to-market is never going to be the second, and the second will never be the third. You just need to survive with what you've got, try to make it through another day, and make it count. So for me, something that has worked very well, as you know, is, go face-to-face on events, follow up, and then with VibeSell, then like do a very, very, very analytical, like sort of time saving as well, strategy. So I think in terms of go to market, in terms of getting those customers in terms of all of that, I would say if you've got a good product, focus fully on distribution, and that distribution needs to be war.
Yeah.
Needs to be literally get your first client in. Don't think about 10 clients. Think about one. Once you got one, think about the second. Once you cross that 10 people barrier, then you can start forecasting. You can start planning. Once you have a pipeline of 10 deals going on, then you can start. But until then, just survive. For me, events worked very well. Talking to people, listening to people. Salespeople are obsessed with talking. Talking isn't the solution, and that's why I love VibeSell. It listens. It extracts the important information, and it gives me the pain points I need. Regardless of that, listen. Always listen. Don't sell at the beginning. Just listen. So your tool, the solution that was amazing, will develop to be extra amazing just because you've been listening. You know where you have to focus. You know what you have to deliver. And as soon as you sit down and pitch them the next time, you've got a relationship built.
Yeah.
And you've also got a killer product that they need.
Yeah.
So that's, ultimately survive. Listen, deliver.
Yeah, that's a very good way of framing it. And for me, like something that is amazing. And of course, like I'm the first user of VibeSell. Like I've been using that since it was still like scrappy, since we were kind of still figuring things out.
Of course.
And it was already kind of helping it. Every time I was getting a real-time insight that was actually nailing it, I was like, whoa. Like you have this wow effect. You have this magic moment.
100%. I felt it. I experienced it. And I think, the fact the interface is so helpful. Everything is so discreet. No one would notice. And the fact that I can get live information at all times and it's so intuitive that I just get what I need. And it sort of, every time I use it, it adapts a lot more to me. Slowly gets to that level where I just truly feel like I'm an extra salesperson in the call.
Yeah.
I think, as I said earlier, we need to get as much help as we can on every single step of the way, especially as a startup, like founding member and, thriving people, but not even just that. Like I worked in corporate as well, and VibeSell would have still been so key for that. And, it's like any of these solutions that are coming out that actually deliver, that actually you have the founders, like we're recording a podcast at 11, people in Zurich go to bed at 8. So like these people are the people that you need to put your trust on. And I think you can see it reflected on the product. And, being super open and super bold, it is something rather. Put in a storyline, actually, I called him once and told him, hey, look, I'm going to start doing cold calling. I need VibeSell to back me up on this because it's become a crucial tool for me. I'm building a team as well, so I need to track what's going on with them. Like within no time, he had a solution ready for me, right? So this is the people we're thriving to work with, people that can ship just as fast as we do.
Yeah.
So that's actually super inspiring to see VibeSell growth, and being led by you as well, and your co-founder, of course, the genius as well, 2 geniuses, is so crucial. So yeah, no, loving it, absolutely loving it for sure.
I love it. And of course, like every time we get like a challenge or a pain point that you guys are struggling with, we feel that we are in the same boat. So that's why like we have this urgency to help you guys shine. Because like when you guys are successful with VibeCell and you guys are getting more customers on board, that's when we're happy, and that's for us what makes a difference. And at the end of the day, like you were saying, like it's like having an extra rep on your meeting. And yes, indeed, that is the case. But it's not only like having one more rep, it's actually a rep that knows all of your go-to-market data points inside out, that knows where you guys are shining, where you guys are struggling, where you guys are able to outcompete your competitors. And all of those things kind of analyzed at a pattern level or aggregated level is something that humans, unfortunately, are not so good at as compared to an AI that is there present in every meeting. And this for us is a game changer as well internally.
100%, and I'm so looking forward for the next versions as well. I've heard great things come in, and like it's one of the things. Like I'm a big fan of the journey as well. I think we get a lot of inspiration from them as well. And me personally, I remember when I was just starting and figuring it all out, and it's just there is no team. We're just 3 people trying to make it work, 4 people actually trying to make it work. And it was crucial to have this call with Joel. It was like a Saturday at 8 a.m. I think it was, in which we shared insights. He showed me, this crazy tool, VibeCell. And it sort of made me realize that, we get caught up on roles, we get caught up on stuff like that, but we just need to roar together. We just need to get there together. So I think the startup culture is that if you see a startup like succeed, it's because like they've had fellow founders roar together. They've had to find out and figure out everything by their own, and they've actually succeeded at doing that.
Yeah. 100%.
So, and I think also JFloor is helping a lot on that. The Zurich environment is very helpful. And I think the fact that we just move forward. Like we just, like you network on a wedding that has no relation with your work. We just do that. We just live for it.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of it.
Everything is an opportunity, regardless of like the context. Even like sometimes you're just walking around, you cross paths with someone over there, like, I don't know, in a casual environment.
Of course.
And of course, there are opportunities everywhere. And yes, so Abde, just coming back to what we were talking about, this meeting that we had on that Saturday at 8 a.m., when I was doing the pre-meeting preparation on VibeCell tells me, Joel, remember, like when you go into this meeting, make sure that you build a personal connection or that you emphasize with Abde that he's been a professional cyclist.
100%.
And I remember showing you that on the real-time demo, like when I was surfacing my VibeCell so you could see how it works. And that was kind of special, and I had a feeling that, yeah, is this kind of wow effects. And I wanted to ask you about this because you're now working in sales, which is a super highly competitive environment where motivation, ambition, and grit are like the must-haves. So I wanted to ask you, how do you think being a professional cyclist in the past has shaped the way you are a sales leader today as Chief Revenue Officer of Ecomcoder?
I think, there are 2 careers in this world, I think, that really shape up that form of thinking, which is military and an athlete. You understand how sacrifice is needed, and it should be silent as well. Resilience is very important. It doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter who you are. You can get wherever you want.
Yeah.
There was this trainer of mine, Jonathan. I was getting ready for the summer, like super peak period of racing and everything. And he comes to me and tells me, "Are you tired?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I need to stop. I need to take a break." It's like, right now. Like as soon as you are about to black out, that's when you get better. You need to keep going. And I think that I've always had that in my life. Being an athlete, coming from such a structured background and everything has been extremely helpful, because if you develop a system, you can absolutely achieve anything you want. there is no one on SP 500 that have reached there without a system. And you know, the same way I tell you, get your first customer first, get your second customer first, I tell you, there will be a system to get that first customer. There will be a system to get that second customer. And you know, you can reflect a lot in it. Resilience, super important, not giving up. Like, I remember doing a race, Manchester to London, 360 kilometers through the Peak District. A killer. I was crying up a hill. I'm a climber. I used to climb on the Pyrenees hills like this. It was a long drag. It wasn't that big of a deal. I was crying. I couldn't stop. I just couldn't stop. I was just keep going and going and going. And you know, it's a super competitive place, but it's super enjoyable to compete with people. To me, it's always been about not showing that I'm better than anyone else, but showing that a system that works is better than just shutting out.
That's something I really love, and I think like lots of founders, or in general, like when people set themselves objectives, they think about the end result, like the end goal. And from my perspective is, how do you actually manage to set up a process or a system in place where you enjoy the journey to get to that goal? And like enjoying the process, I think, is actually so relevant and really important to really make it enjoyable, even if it's painful as well.
100%. So I think that's the curious part, right? Enjoying / still being painful sometimes, right? I think this comes from a very good sales person, right? I've learned this from, you know, the best salesman I've ever met. He's not very like well known or anything. It's just a person that as soon as you go through the door, you just sold to it. Like, it doesn't matter what he's selling. He's always going to do it. Yeah. And the part that matters the most is always find the positive part. If you can't see, if you don't enjoy so much that process, that specific process that might give you results, then focus on being positive about the product. You know, you always have to see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's really important. So for me, sometimes, you know, I have to do stuff that I don't really enjoy, but I'll tell you what I enjoy. I enjoy it working out. And all of a sudden, I hated back in the day cold calling. Now I love it because it works, right? So, you know, the fact that you get rejected most of the times makes it okay for those W's. That might not come in the first day or the second day or the third day. On the long run, you best believe it will. There's many people making loads of money off that system. It's just trying and see what works. Always never be afraid of trying stuff that is out of your comfort zone. You might end up loving it.
Yeah.
You might. It wasn't on my comfort zone to get out at 5 a.m. on my bike, to go out and be able to then go to university, then go to work. And that, you know, it's just character building. And as a salesperson, and you know it very well, you need to have a strong character and able to adapt to every single situation as of right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I really resonate with this. You know, like when I actually started, first, like you might have heard the story, but I started my career in sales doing pure door-to-door sales here in Switzerland when I was 19 years old to pay for my studies. And for me, it was survival instinct. I had to figure it out, or I was out of uni. I didn't have money to pay for anything, so I needed to figure that out. And you know, like when you actually expose yourself and you're all of a sudden on your first day talking to 100 people and trying to close your first deals, and you see that you're getting the rejection, it's raining, it's cold, things are not working, but then you need to actually adapt and learn actually what's going to work. And then you need to celebrate the small victories. You know, you need to empathize, and people buy from people. So even if you're already gotten like 50 rejections in a row, it's also about how do you manage to pitch to that 51st person that you're talking to as well energized as you were doing on the first door of that day. And so I think like being able to have this consistency, to be able to play your A game, regardless of what are the external circumstances on how you might feel. I think this is extremely relevant. And touching back into the point of cold calling, I have a very deep feeling that a lot of salespeople are getting less and less comfortable on doing cold calling and just approaching people on the phone, because a lot of people feel that it's out of their comfort zone. And that's why a lot of salespeople, unfortunately, are hiding behind their email inboxes and trying to make a super nice and structured email that is most oftentimes done with AI. And then like what's happened to me over the last weeks, from time to time, I'm also sending emails because that's also a channel where I'm managing to get leads and meetings booked. But that being said, my conversion rate from sending emails versus getting calls is just unparalleled. I'm probably getting maybe 5x more return from my cold calls than I'm getting from my emails. And the reality of it is also that when you're doing a cold call, you're able to face an objection in real time.
That's the key.
Whereas in an email, if someone is not agreeing with what you're saying or someone has an objection, they will just think about it, but you will never be aware of that. And you will not be able to respond either. So I think cold calling is magic. Being exposed into this type of bi-directional engagement is just so crucial. And you can also win by being spontaneous and also building this personal rapport.
100%. I think I always say this, very humble of me, by the way, but I always say if I'm in front of the person, I'm closing that person. If I'm sending an email, they might read it and they will think, okay, I will think about it more down the line, they will forget. The capability statement is a screen where you're reading letters, like sentences over and over, which anyone can do that. And that's the bad side of AI. People think that AI can fully replace a human connection, and that is never going to be the case. I think in terms of what you said, the conversion rate is always going to be higher. And the reason is because when you were trying to pay your studies, you were going out and being rejected over and over. And that wasn't an excuse enough for you to stop. Like, there is a quote that says, get out there, try it, fail better, try it again, be kind to others and light up the night. And, you know, those are things that I live by, because by failing better, I'm actually doing better. Mm-hmm. I'm actually learning more, and only test and error gets me that. Because guess what? Once you're doing the test, after a few errors, you're going to have a win. And that is just as true as gravity. It happens, and I think we've proven it. And you know, we keep proving that to ourselves. And I think the confidence boost you get is like, I can't match that feeling. I think if my wife is seeing this, she's gonna kill me. But I don't think I can actually match the feeling of I've done a good job. But the part that is more satisfying is that I'm actually gonna change that person's workflow day to day. Yeah. I'm actually making it better. I'm actually selling something that makes sense, you know, which is something we're very lucky, because most people sell stuff that they don't even know what they're selling, right? And that's why they hide behind emails. They're not passionate enough to be exposed to rejection. Rejection is a powerful thing. Most actors that you see right now picking up Oscars, or like, you know, famous singers and stuff like, had to go through so many rejections. I think J.K. Rowling, right? Like is that the name of the author?
Yeah, J.K. Rowling from Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter got rejected, I don't know, 10 times?
I think she got rejected, I don't know, the number is out there, but like tens of times, like a dozen times, or whatever it is. And you know, rejection is just such a powerful thing. Character building is such a powerful thing. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid of rejection. Just go and embrace it. That means you're trying, and that means you're just one step closer to actually materializing a vision. I think that's extremely important. You know, we've all gone through, you know, rejection in all, like, personal life, professional life, and in all sort of ways, shapes, and forms. And that is fine. That's just the road. That's just the journey. And that's part of what makes it so exciting. There is a type of personality that is needed for this sales roles, especially on a startup world. You get a lot of rejection, But if you know how to channel it, and if you know how to build a relationship before you actually get to the stage of getting a no, that is key.
Yeah, I fully agree, and I think it's a great example. And you guys now are like at this stage where like you're gonna continue expanding. Of course, like you were mentioning before, you guys already managed to have tens of new users every day. Like I'm impressed, because you're getting to this level where all of the rejection you've gotten in the past is now translating into concrete results. So could you please elaborate a bit more about how has it been for you guys to get so many users every single day? Because that's kind of the holy grail of like what any early stage founder would actually look like.
Yeah, so I think our team is very dynamic, and we just try as much as we can get our hands on, because we work about 20 hours a day. But truth being said, is that when you've got a fully committed vision, which we do, and a very clear path onto what we're solving, it's very easy to do on volume. Volume isn't just emails, or not at all. I think volume right now, we need to use all the tools we have at our advantage. If I have a visual product like Ecomcoder might be, right? I'm going to use social media to show people what they can do with it. Because ultimately, I can reach a lot more people on social media than I can do cold calling, right? We can't not be ignorant of that matter. With that being said, I think you need to listen to a lot of clients. You need to listen to a lot of potential clients and a lot of people that will reject you onto what pain points they have. Because then based on that, you're going to go and create your UGC strategy and your content ideas that you're going to then show to that same people that told you no, that will end up knocking at your door without even knowing that they're knocking back at your door or that they spoke to you before. Mm-hmm. Right? And so that is a very important part. So I think volume comes through being exposed and making a capability statement. Now, when we started with UGC, we didn't get great results. Well, if I'm honest, we got great results from the beginning. Like, if you put it in perspective onto what level we were at then and stuff. But right now, we're getting a lot of traction. We are figuring out how to convert all that traction that we get on a daily basis. And so far it's just so exciting to see how everything's coming together. A little bit of insight into it, to be a lot more specific, is being a startup operator, you need to learn. One of the things that we learn the most, and I know you do as well, is optimize all resources. So, we don't go and hire someone to do this. We just go and pay by result, right? So we get UGC, result orientated, is very effective. But the part that is a bit of hard work is that they're like toddlers. You need to always be on top of them. You need to always tell them when to post and anything and everything. But just like everything that makes sense, the effort is worth it. I still think that those things need to come after understanding properly your market, after shaping out the ICP and making a killer one, and knowing who you're talking to, what they need, and how to give it to them.
Yeah, man, that's so important. And I cannot stretch it enough, because we're now in this point. I have a feeling that you guys maybe started very heavily on UGC content, and once you guys managed to kind of figure this out, maybe you guys started to get more exposed into these kind of more sales-based engagements, and that's where you're kind of nailing it. And I have a feeling that on our side at VibesOut, because our kind of a team is kind of coming from sales for as a core of what we do in our business, we started doing sales first on one-on-one meetings with potential customers, and then the UGC part is something that we kind of left behind.
I think it's very important nowadays to have social media presence, and the reason being is because you might not convert immediately, but the truth is you build trust through people looking at you, seeing vibes up. You're building that up. You're building your credibility. It's the most popular way of making a capability statement 2026. It is crucial that you hit every single note. And it is very strategic, right? Because you need to do it the right way, and you need to do it this. But you know a lot your market. We know a lot our markets because we've been part of it. Right? When you talk to me about VibeCell, I can absolutely relate because I've been on sales for a long time.
Yeah.
So it is important to know your markets. Most people know the products and don't know the markets.
Yeah.
Another big percentage of people don't know the products and don't know the market. It is rather important to have full control of the picture, like full knowledge of the picture. So I can actually start testing, because one thing is people also do this a lot. They test stuff without actually doing it properly and they write it off. That's not right. You need to have all the data you can to make a decision onto whether that makes sense or doesn't.
Yeah. Like now that you're saying about that, I feel there's something unique and special that could actually be applied to this use case, in which you talk with some people as a like one-on-one sales engagements, but then of course you also need to do the one-to-many, because even if I would love to be able to do that, I cannot talk with 1,000 people per week. And you can do that with social media. Like if you actually do some great content with a powerful message, then you can have millions of people looking at that message and being influenced by what you're actually talking about. So where I think actually, and I'm just thinking about this use case right now as we're talking, but I think it's worth to share it, is imagine like, because you're actually getting all of those customer engagements in a one-on-one where VibeCell is present, then you can ask to VibeCell, what are the patterns that you can see? What are the different clusters of users or potential customers I'm talking to? And how can I take these data inputs in order to create really relevant and meaningful content that is going to resonate with my ICP?
100%. And it's completely capable of doing that. And, the thing is, like, when like the tool, what it does, or what I've noticed does, it debriefs you after every single meeting, but that's not a debrief that gives you just like a simple thing. No, it actually stores the data and it starts building a report, right? Where like you can access that data at any time and even at scale, right? What was the common theme of my last 10 meetings? And it will tell you what was the common theme. What is the biggest pain point on the last 100 calls I've had? And it will tell you, right? So it is, you've got like a very good point. Then again, we're back to it, right? Listening. I need to listen. Volume for volume, I need to actively listen for a long time to be able to deliver.
Yeah.
And that is rather important. But yeah, no, that use case is something that we always play around with it, right? Because we need to access data. We're very data driven. It's important to know what works and what doesn't. And the fact that I can forget about my sales calls, well, not so much as forget, but the fact that I know I have a reliable assistant, I have a reliable tool that can tell me at all times what I did right, what I did wrong, right? It reviews my performance as well. It reviews absolutely everything. And furthermore, it transcribes my meetings. It gives me my highlights. It does everything I need. And that is important. So I think, yes, for you to do a good campaign and reach those millions of people, you need to understand what these people need. And for that, you would have had to have efforts selling. Mm-hmm. It all comes from the same point. You need to talk to humans to know what humans need.
Yeah.
An AI won't give it to you all. But VibeCell is an AI that is gain information from people and from yourself. So it's a complete bespoke solution for us salespeople.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And I will touch on the fact that you're now moving to the US for a while in my next question. But before we move into that, I also wanted to highlight that you're now in this moment where like you're expanding your team at Ecomcoder, and you're also considering, okay, what's going to happen when there is more salespeople in our organization? So when you guys, instead of having the team that you currently have, how is it going to look like in regards to your go-to-market when you have like 5 or 10 salespeople? And what I find is an extremely high added value is if you have VibeCell and VibeCell is able to give you data on what each one of your representatives is actually doing on his meetings, individually, but also at the aggregated level for the entire organization, then you can also start asking questions like, actually, what are my top performers doing that the rest of the team is not doing? How can we actually enable the average performers based on the data of the top performers? Against which type of competitors are we actually losing the most deals in those, like, I don't know, hundreds of meetings we have every week? And then you can also even ask things about forecasting. We're talking about forecasting. Maybe you can ask, instead of asking your rep directly, you can ask Vibesell, which deals do you think are the ones that are the highest chance to close at the end of the quarter? And I think this is valuable. And that's something I would love to have when I was at Salesforce.
100%. And I think following up on that question at the beginning, I think the experience without Vibesell of hiring, like I didn't hire for that reason. Because I needed direct and fully open access to what is doing, because we as founding members, we need to develop a system. And for that, it's so important to have access to data. So what Vibesell was doing is allowing me to hire people, really, because I know I am going to have all the data I need to qualify a strategy, to qualify a rep, to qualify a situation, and be able to make decisions on that. So yes, it is definitely something extremely, extremely helpful. And I want to be able to give my reps everything I can to make their experience as good as possible so they can bring us as many results as they can, right? Like right now, you've got Vibesell, which is a very full-on solution. Why wouldn't you implement it for these people that probably need it, especially at the beginning? And I'm giving them a tool that knows everything to know about our tool or the tool that they're selling. It's just as a no-brainer.
That's massive, and also it even manages to reflect your personal or corporate style of selling, because probably Ecomcoder sells very different from what many other companies out there are selling.
100%.
So I love that. And then to touch on the topic that I just announced, but you guys just received some amazing news very, very recently, because I know, like, I was just in South Africa last week, and I just texted you and I was like, Abde, are you gonna be around Zurich when I'm back? And you're like, Joel, actually, I am in Zurich, but I'm coming back on Wednesday and I'm leaving on Thursday. And so that's why we're actually doing this podcast right now.
Yeah.
Almost midnight. And so I wanted to ask you, what is actually the news that you guys got? Because I think it would be very interesting to give some more details about it.
Right. Well, we got amazing news, as Joel said, which I'm very excited to share with him as well. And when I told him, he was super excited, and I'm, super thrilled. We're going to Y Combinator. We're going to be doing the batch from the beginning of next month. And it's super exciting. It's super exciting that we're going to get to share, with the people we have here and the people we'll have there, all the technical side. Ecomcoder is going to grow. It's just so much potential. We are opening, on my side, we're opening all the American market to us. We're going to be building a team there, and we're going to, a lot of exciting things are coming, and I'm very, very looking forward to share it with you guys. Joel knows a little bit about it, but we'll be super excited to see it grow and see it all play out. No doubt, this will work out. That's the one thing though that I'm sure of.
This is amazing, and yeah. So YC, it works in cohorts. So you guys have 4 cohorts per year. So you guys are now entering. That's a spring batch, no? Probably.
Yeah.
This is a spring batch,
So.
which means that you're actually joining.
Oh, actually, maybe summer batch.
Summer batch,
maybe,
okay,
right?
Yeah, that's impressive.
I don't actually know. That's so bad, but yeah, no. So yeah, we're really excited. I think we have the demo day on the June or something like that, July or something.
Okay,
like that.
awesome.
Yeah.
And so for maybe some of the folks in the audience that might not be so familiar, but basically YC, it's a program in which you have like 125 startups per batch that are kind of working in a sort of cohort. So they're able to kind of develop their ideas and iterate very fast. You get a bit of funding as well. But the goal is what you were saying, the demo day, which is actually kind of where everything is being played at.
Yeah, I think for us, the most attractive part was the mentorship part, right? It's as I said. Amin and Imad and Bipav are very capable humans, but they're also very humble and very down to earth. I think that being said, it's so important to know where your limitations are at, and it's so important to know that limitations are everywhere. So we always need to strive for better, and I think YC is a little bit of that. I think that's us making a statement that we're doing well, but we want to do better, right? And it's never going to stop being like that. But it's super exciting. It opens a lot of doors. It helps us build our team. It helps us network. It helps us get with the right people, and it helps us potentially bring exposure to tools we're using as well, like VibeCell, like many others. That they not necessarily need, but deserve that exposure. And I think we're gonna have soon Joel coming over. I'm trying to convince him. Not that he needs much convincing, to be honest, but it's super great to see startup like ours where we just have a vision. We don't have any funding. We don't have anything. We just work out as we go. We have a lovely product. We have a good go-to-market strategist, which is ourselves. We just work out, and we get, badly said, shit done. And that's the most important thing. Just starting the day and from the get-go, getting shit done. So yeah, I know. I think YC is gonna be changing. Like it's gonna change a lot. The vision. As in not so much the vision, maybe that's wrong. It's gonna change a lot the trajectory with a lot real time data from like actual founders that have made it.
Yeah.
And bringing this into Ecomcoder will be key for future steps. And we could discuss it on a second podcast potentially in San Francisco, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good for us for sure.
Guys, I'm super convinced, and you guys have an amazing team.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is going to elevate you guys. You're also going to be able to reiterate fast on everything you're trying to do, see what's working, what's not. But of course, like getting access to such mentors, and not only the ones from YC itself, but also you guys are actually being exposed to the entire San Francisco ecosystem, which is again bringing the equation to the next level. And so you guys are only like literally one street away from meeting some of the best companies in the world in terms of e-commerce. You're actually able to talk with those companies that are really knowledgeable about the market, and you can actually disrupt them or inspire them into how to do things in a different way. So actually I have a kind of funny angle, but I was in San Francisco back in October last year, and I was there for Dreamforce and for Tech Week. And I kind of got into this event called a ProductCon, which I actually I just went to the door and they just kind of let me in by asking my name. Then I met with the founder of the conference and I realized that I was not supposed to be there. So something happened where I got access for free and so on. So that being said, I just went into the conference and I saw Dylan Field, the CEO and founder of Figma, right? And I just saw him there and I was like, I should pitch him live by himself. So I just went there right after the session. I went to pitch to him and he was like, oh, that sounds interesting. You should send me a demo. And that's how kind of a door got open, And I have the feeling that such things, of course, can happen in Europe, but they're not so likely to happen, fortunately.
I think the difference between Europe and America is that I think in the US people don't forget where they come from, and you might be talking to Mark Zuckerberg, and he understood what building a startup is, right? Whereas in Europe we forget quite quick where we come from. I think that's the difference. And I think Americans can see opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I can see a lot of opportunity in VibeCell, for example. And that's what's allowing me to be so involved. Besides, like, the relationship we have, it's also the fact that it's a very capable product, right? And ultimately, in business, that's all that should matter.
Yeah.
Can this product deliver what I expect it to deliver? Yes. Can this team carry the operations? Yes. We're in business, right? And that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
2 + 2, if it comes out as 4, then it works.
Yeah. And also like resonating with what you're saying right now, I have the feeling that it's also a matter of, okay, in what environment are you actually putting yourself in? And these like doing the parallelism between the Y Combinator environment or the San Francisco environment, but also JFloor that we just kind of established together with some of the folks here in Zurich. These actually what makes people to kind of stick together, to learn from each other, to fail on different things, and make the group learn as a whole. So, for example, I remember like this day we just had a meeting and we were talking about exchanging best practices on outbound and lead generation and lead enrichment with AI native tools. And then on the next day, I was talking with some other entrepreneurs about how to actually speed up our platform and Vibe Cell to make it under a certain number of milliseconds for the real-time guidance, which is something that, funnily enough, they worked on a similar latency challenge in the weeks before that, you know. And I had a feeling that being kind of surrounded by folks who are like excellence and thriving to succeed is a norm, also makes you better. And so if you surround yourself by people that are really hungry, it's going to make you only one thing but hungrier.
100%. I think that's a cool thing in the US, that like competition is healthy. You know, you want to see people succeed because that means you've got a chance, you've got a fair shot at it. There is no one a lot like the norm isn't to find exceptional people, it's actually to find exceptional sacrifice and exceptional effort. That's what separates us from extremely successful people. Part of the journey is, you know, just failing. I think there is a quote of Denzel Washington that says, I think it's a film, potentially it is, that says, do you think, like, if you ask God to give you patience, do you think it gives you patience or it gives you the opportunity to be patient? Or do you think that if you ask health, is God going to give you health, or is God going to give you the opportunity to be healthy? And you know, like, these little things are you need to go out and chase your own luck. You need to be hungry and you need to get inspired with what you have around, not to get down. You know, the minute I see Joel being successful, I'll see that as an inspiration and say, okay, well, next call, I'm going to be better than him, better results. And then he's going to take it the same way, and back and forth, back and forth. And that's how you build a healthy environment where competition is important while still using it purely for motivation purposes, which is ultimately what we want.
Yeah.
We all have that like song that we put on when we go out for a run. We all have that, and I think people can be that for you. That song that, you know, Guns N' Roses, that like hit on the back of your mind when you know you're hitting it or whatever it is. It is really important, and that's what I think when I talk to Joel. It's when I think when I talk to a lot of my fellow startup operators in JFloor. You know, that's it, inspiration. You know, and being humble enough to state the fact that a lot of people can be better than you. You just need to work harder.
100%. And I think like it's good to be surrounded by people that inspire you, which is also my case with you guys at Ecomcoder. I really, every time I talk with you, I see so many things that I can learn from the way you strategize, you analyze the situation, you go to market, you really structure yourself into not only talking to customers in like phone calls, or also like doing relationship based selling, but also you expose yourself into as many inputs of interaction as you can. And I think this is just phenomenal. And at the end, like, it's a numbers game as well, no? So the more you're exposed, the more things are coming, and that's very unique.
Productivity is so important. Productivity in any startup, in any level, in any role is so crucial. And I think we've got it nailed out here. But it's very important to know productivity is super important and patience is super important. Those two things make a great startup operator.
So Abde, we're having a very stimulating conversation, and we actually spoke for a couple of hours before starting with the podcast. In order to kind of start gently summarizing or recapping our meeting, I wanted to ask you, where do you see Ecomcoder in the next 12 to 24 months?
That's a good question. Shining. That's the only answer I have. There is a lot which I have shared with you, but there is a lot happening on the back end of Ecomcoder, and I think we'll have a system put in place that makes everything a lot smoother and gets us to places. I think we'll have a bigger team with a lot more punchy strategies as well. We'll go to a lot more volume. We'll focus on quality over quantity, but equally get known everywhere to show and lead the e-commerce way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're coming with a lot more tech. Ecomcoder won't be single anymore. And we're coming with a lot of it's going to be very, very tech heavy the next few months, and we're going to come with something really nice, which in the next podcast we'll talk about. But yeah, no, 100% super exciting months. I think the next 12 months in terms of KPIs and results will definitely hit the 1 million ARR.
Yeah.
Light work should be.
Love it.
The 24, we need to be up there. We're going to be up there. We're going to be.
I have no doubt, to be very honest. You guys have an amazing team and everything to succeed. If you were to ask things for our new community here, which is composed by founders, sales executives, tech people, what are things that you would like to ask to the community on how they could help you achieve your goals?
That's also an interesting question, of course. Well, I would say, I think the biggest help we can actually do to each other and this community is just be open, talk to people, get exposed. For me, potentially, I never hesitate to give a recommendation to someone. I never hesitate to make an intro to anyone. I never hesitate. If I feel like it's a right fit, then I won't hesitate for a minute. It doesn't matter whether I've known you for 10 minutes or I've known you for 5 years. It won't make a difference whatsoever. So I think being open, being kind, and sharing resources is very important. Quid pro quo is very important in this environment. I'm very excited to see how Zurich develops in these 3 months we're going to be away. I'm sure VibeCell will be leading the way, of course. And I'm super excited and hyped. I'm very, very, very excited because I think there is a lot to be done here. And, seeing people like you, it sort of gives me faith in humanity. And the startup and sales world is really, really refreshing.
Man, 100%. And I think we also share, our Spanish connection, which is completely unique.
Yes.
So I would really like to have you with us in the Casa Hispana series in January next year in Davos. I think that's going to be very special. And so Abde, thanks a million. That was our first episode of a VibeCell series with Abde from Ecomcoder, an amazing leader, sales executive who has all of the grit and ambition to make Ecomcoder a huge success in the months to come. So feel free to follow Ecomcoder, get in touch with Abde. I'm sure many of you are actually also into the e-commerce space. So make sure that you leverage this information and insights for your businesses as well.
100%. Do let me know that you come from Joel, VibeCell. I'll give you special treatment. But thank you very much for having me. And I want to tell you, always explore and give a try to VibeCell because it is really life-changing. I'm talking from a consumer point of view. It is life-changing how small tweaks and big tweaks can be VibeCell can impact your environment. So don't ever hesitate to try new tech from people that are hands-on on their projects. That being said, I'm out.
I think it's time to sleep. You have a nerdy flight tomorrow. So thanks a million for coming here and for your flexibility, Abde. Thanks a million.
Thank you very much.
Cheers now.